Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I have learned a lot about morals and values from my experiences at camp. Living in a cabin with 16 other campers and 4 other staff members, for 4 weeks, one really gets to learn how to exist within community, how to share the very small amount of hot water, how to share clothes if you need to dress up for a themed evening program, and how to be honest and confront conflict by creating an evening ritual centered around improving the way we treat one another and ourselves. Summer after summer, I'd find the same picture posted around the bunk. On one side, it read, "Equality, where 3 people of different heights get the same number of boxes to stand on to see over a fence, which only works for the 2 tallest ones there." On the other side, it reads, "Equity, where each person gets what they actually need, where everyone can see." That image laid the foundation for how we treated each other in our community and taught us what it really means to be fair. Tonight, I want to look at how our tradition teaches us to be equitable with others and, just as importantly, with ourselves. In this week's Torah portion, Ki Titzeh, we receive 74 mitzvot, with some of them centered around how we treat other people fairly in different situations. And I'd like to share just a few of them with you tonight. We actually receive an answer to the modern-day question, if you see $20 on the ground or something of someone else's laying around, do you keep it or do you find who it belongs to? Our text tells us, if you see your fellow Israelite's ox or sheep gone astray, do not ignore it. You must take it back to its peer. If your fellow Israelite does not live near you or you do not know who the owner is, you shall bring it home and it shall remain with you until your peer claims it. Then you shall give it back. You shall do the same with their donkey, you shall do the same with their garment, and so too shall you do with anything that your fellow Israelite loses and you find. And you must not remain indifferent. This law directly from God teaches us to not remain lazy while searching for the item's owner. What belongs to someone else, even if they lose it, it's still theirs, and it's our duty to search for its owner. Rashi, the 11th century French commentator, literally tells us not to close our eyes and pretend like we don't see it. And Sforno, the early 16th century Italian commentator, says the reason God lists examples, such as the donkey and garments, is to indicate the size of each item. Even if they lose something which might be difficult to lose, such as a donkey because of its size, we must never assume they chose to lose it on purpose. It is only fair to possess what is rightfully yours. Next, our text tells us the sacredness of keeping promises. When you make a vow to the eternal your God, do not put off fulfilling it. For the eternal your God will require it of you, and you will have incurred guilt. You must fulfill what has crossed your lips and perform what you have voluntarily vowed to the eternal your God, having made the promise with your own mouth. Whatever you vow to do with your own voice, you must stick with it. Ibn Ezra, a medieval Spanish commentator, says, once the words leave your mouth, you are unable to take them back. It is only fair to others that our promises are fulfilled. Next, when you enter a fellow Israelite's vineyard, and you may eat as many grapes as you want until you are full, but you must not put any in your vessel. When you enter a fellow Israelite's field of standing grain, you may pluck ears with your hand, but you must not put a sickle to your neighbor's grain. This law teaches us to respect our neighbors and not indulge ourselves with others' belongings. It is the difference between enjoying what you can enjoy in the moment versus taking from others to enjoy for another time. It is only fair to the one whom you are taking from. And the laws continue to provide situational examples of fairness as an attempt to teach the Israelite people how to live in a just and fair society. The Torah provides examples of various consequences as well if one does not successfully fulfill these commandments. Some as serious as death, while others mention public shame, exclusion from the community, or financial consequences. All of these are listed to encourage the Israelites to follow these laws. But what strikes me is that the Torah is so explicit about the consequences, yet remains pretty silent about what happens when we inevitably fail anyway. Humans are infallible. We will, time and time again, live our lives and make mistakes, act unfairly, and be dishonest. So what do we do with our mistakes? What do we do when we inevitably take something that is not ours, go back on our promises, and take more than what is offered to us? We try again. We try again, and again, and again, and again, until we're able to get it right, until we learn that lesson. And even then, when we think we have learned the lesson, we can still mess up. Because reminder, we are human. It is so deeply embedded into our Jewish tradition to fall into this cycle, this pattern of trying our best, failing, learning, and striving to do better. Perfection is not the goal. Trying to achieve your best is. As we find ourselves in Elul, a Hebrew month which we dedicate ourselves to preparing for the high holidays, we begin to reflect on moments when we missed the mark and perhaps acted unfairly. The mere fact that we have Yom Kippur return year after year gives us the opportunity to acknowledge our missteps, to grow, and to attempt to do better. Judaism doesn't ask us to get it right the first time, as it is built a calendar around the assumption that we will not get it right most of the time. It comes back year after year. By no means are we to just act unfairly because we have the opportunity to say sorry and do better next year. On the contrary, we should always try to do our best. Just like how the picture from the bunk and the commandments from this week's Torah portion teach us to act fairly, we must also act fairly to ourselves. Give ourselves grace when we accidentally act unfairly to others. We must not beat ourselves up for being infallible humans. Let us celebrate that we can try again. Let us find joy in the journey of attempting to create a just and fair society. It is my hope for all of us to strive for our best, to continue to pursue fairness and be at ease when we inevitably are not fair to others and ourselves, because in the back of our minds, we know that we tried. Perhaps that is the reason as to why these pictures were in the bunks year after year. It served as a constant reminder to act fairly even when we end up not succeeding. When we don't act fairly, we can look at this picture and be reminded that we can try again, year after year, again after again, and again. One last time. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.